getting to be in a place that is not done, could be done. Here's what's interesting, is usually when we're painting big and we do that initial spark and we go, well, that's done right there. What that is that first core flame of creation of what you're maybe even looking for, but how do we stay with it, let it change, and trust that that will come back and get our paintings to a place of being in relationship to paint. Subtleties of paint, letting the piece change. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've come to my piece. I've either done something very simple with even gesso and leaving the wood, and then elements of just pencil and paint. And I think that over the years you can leave some of those because they might be complete. But when you're new to painting, or finding, even when you're not new to painting and you're just looking for that next body of work, to really get into the relationship of paint is so important. Does that make sense? And did anyone feel that initial spark of like, I feel like I really like this and I don't want to touch it? Tracy did.
Yeah, for sure. I do that a lot, where like the very first few things I put on paper, I want to just leave that.
Right.
Yeah.
And has anyone experienced doing that, overworking that, and then later finding they've come back to something more mature within that?
Yeah.
Okay. And because this is a specific workshop geared to staying with it, the meditation I'm going to do today is really about savoring inner space connected to something outside of ourselves, and to hold space for either ourselves or somebody else or the world while we paint. And to refine some of the technical things that we're working with in the painting. That's really what today's about. How do you stay with it? How do you sit with it? How do you write about it? How do you commune with your painting?
Lauren, can I just share something?
Please, yes.
In relationship to that, I have a dear friend in town, and a very active, intelligent, go-getter kind of woman. And she took the time this morning over coffee, and she said, "Tracy, please paint for our country today."
Oh,
And she said, "I've never felt so concerned about where we are." And she said, "I need you to paint for all of us."
wow.
And I mean, those kind of conversations can be kind of, maybe trite. It didn't feel that way at all. It felt very important.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my God, how do I take everything that I personally am holding, all the headlines, all the worry and the sickness and what have you that we're all kind of bouncing around with, and get it on the canvas.
Well, we begin with that meditation to anchor us, and then conduit us, and hold space. The wrong computer. Whoops, that's okay. The reason I'm having her grab the computer is there was something I wanted to share, and it's conducive to what you're saying right now, because that's really core level deepness of connecting to why you paint. Tracy and I had a conversation yesterday that while we're painting, it's personal. It can be very personal. Once the painting's done, it's not really ours anymore. that's meant for the world. Let me just grab my computer. It's right there.
I'm glad you shared that with us. I mean, it's so, interesting to me, like, sometimes I sit here and I go,
So,
I'm having such a normal life, and then it's like,
I am going to read you something that I actually read last night. And it's by Suzanne, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Arundhati Roy, who's an Indian scholar and writer. And wrote God of Small Things. And wherever you sit with the pandemic, whatever choices you make or however you think about it, I think this actually sums up a cultural, cognitive idea that we could take with us. Historically, pandemics have forced humans to break with the past and imagine their world anew. This one is no different. It is a portal, a gateway between one world and the next. We can choose to walk through it, dragging the carcasses of our prejudice and hatred, our artifices, our data banks and dead ideas, our dead rivers and smoky skies behind us. Or we can walk through lightly with little luggage, ready to imagine another world. And then she writes, ready to fight for it. I would actually probably use a different word than fight for it. I think that once we can process, we're assimilating and processing what's going on, but there is another side to it. It's almost like being a light worker and imagining and helping and harnessing a new way through painting, through writing, through beingness, through checking ourselves every day. You know, was I in my integrity? I can see when I'm not in my integrity so much more clearly now. How am I conscious? How am I relating? How can I hold space for the suffering of others and paint it, not paint the suffering, but paint that gateway. That gateway, that portal that she's talking about. And it is, we're dragging our carcasses, we're dragging everything, and it's so mind-blowing and overwhelming. But the reason is because birth is painful. And we are birthing a new way. We really are. This is historic. I was going to read that later, but that seemed important at that moment from what you were saying. You're welcome. Okay, I'm going to sit over here and I'm going to grab my book. It's one reason. My book is over here. And can people hear me? Or should I?
Yeah, you're fine.
I'm fine. Thank you, Erin, for doing this. And then once you get that settled, why don't you go ahead and settle so you can meditate with us.